Virginia Tech, the 36th Virginia Tech National Capital Region Graduate Commencement has begun. Please stand to the posting of the colors by the University Color Guard and the singing of our national anthem by Miss Carolyn Danville. Carolyn Danville is a 2013 Virginia Tech graduate with a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from the Pamplin School of Business. She is currently working in continuing and professional education at our offices in Arlington. Carolyn is honored to be a Hokie in both her academics and professional life and to spread the message of Ut Prosim, that I may serve.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please be seated. Good afternoon. Come on, we do better than that. Good afternoon. There we go. On behalf of the university community, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the 2017 National Capital Region Graduate Commencement Exercises. Today, nearly 180 students of Virginia Tech's National Capital Region will be recognized for completing degree requirements for doctoral, specialist, master's, and certificate programs from 5 of the university's colleges. In total, more than 400 students in the National Capital Region have earned graduate degrees and certificates this academic year. Their research and scholarship, completed as part of their degree requirements, constitutes a significant achievement for our students as well as a major contribution to the global body of knowledge. Now, it is with great honor that we introduce Virginia Tech's Executive Vice President and Provost, Dr. Thanasis Rakakis, who will introduce our commencement stage party. Dr. Rakakis.
Thank you, Steve. and welcome to the best climate control graduation we had this weekend. I don't know if you heard, we had a beautiful but very warm graduation on Thursday, and then we had a beautiful graduation on Friday morning where it was a tad too wet. So this is also going to be beautiful, but the climate's going to be perfect. Right? Yes, okay. So I saw Steve try to warm you up a little bit, and he did okay, but I want to try to be better. If I say, let's go, you say? Hockey! Oh, come on, you can do better than that. Let's go! Hockey! Let's go! Hockey! All right, you're awake. We're good to go. Excellent. It is my pleasure to introduce the deans and associate deans of our colleges. These individuals have the immense responsibility for the academic and administrative direction of each college. As I call your name, will you please stand? Dr. Rosemary Blisner, Interim Dean, College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences. Dr. A. Jack Davis, Dean, College of Architecture and Urban Studies. Dr. Kenneth Wong, Associate Dean of the Graduate School. Dr. Don Taylor, Interim Dean, College of Engineering. Dr. Robert Sumikras, Dean, Pamplin College of Business. Dr. Parvich Ganfurush, Associate Dean, Public College of Business. Dr. Paul Winnestorfer, Dean, College of Natural Resources and Environment. Now, because I made a mistake and I skipped the college during the main graduation, I want to do this one more time to make it up to Dr. Paul Winnestorfer, Dean, College of Natural Resources and Environment. There you go. Thank you. Please be seated. I would also like to recognize the university senior administrators who have joined us on stage today. Dr. Karen DePoe, Vice President and Dean for Graduate Education, and Dr. Steve McKnight, Vice President for the National Capital Region. Also on stage are Dr. Kathleen Hancock, Commencement Marshal, Mr. Mehul Sangani, our Commencement Speaker, Ms. Jean Raleigh, our 2017 Graduate Student Speaker, Mr. Justin Graves, our Virginia Tech Alumni Association representative, Dr. Barbara Hoops, our reader of names. Yep, she has lots of work to do. Mr. James Chapman and Mr. L. Chris Peterson, members of our Board of Visitors. Ms. Tara Reel, Graduate Student Representative to the Board of Visitors. And I wish to extend my greetings to all members of the stage party and the faculty. The faculty are the vital link that connects our academic past, a tradition that stretches back to medieval times, to the ever-expanding, vibrant universe of knowledge that our graduates represent. To all of you, please stand and accept our gratitude for your dedication to teaching, to scholarship, and to the idea of the academic community. Through this ceremony, we recognize your significant achievement and celebrate your talent, skills, and hard work. It is challenging to earn an advanced degree, and according to the Census Bureau, just 8% of the US population perseveres to the completion of a master's degree, and only 3% complete a doctoral degree. I don't know if the word perseveres is from the Census Bureau or not. You would know that better. Many of today's graduates are working professionals from the region, dynamic corporate community, government agencies, and education and policy sectors. They have held demanding jobs during the day and attended school in the evening, while also juggling family obligations and civic activities. It is a privilege to recognize our graduate students. May I ask them to stand so we can all applaud them. Thank you, graduates. They are not the only ones who have made sacrifices, and so I'd like to extend a special welcome and special congratulations to the families of our graduates. Pursuing an advanced degree, and on some days pursuing is the only way to describe it, means a commitment on behalf of the entire family. All of you have adjusted your schedules, seen less of your loved ones, taken on additional responsibilities, and have done your best to get through these very crowded years. It was your support that helped these graduates to summon the necessary commitment, perseverance, and dedication to get to this place. We honor them and we honor you. Please, let's have an applause for the families. Speaking of colliding schedules, today we seem to have a collision of celebrations. We celebrate a couple of the highest educational achievements that any student can achieve, but we're also celebrating one of the highest, if not the highest, achievement of a person can achieve in lifetime, that of being a mother. Will all of you who are mothers please stand and be recognized? Thank you, and thank you for being with us on this very special day for you. As part of the graduate commencement, we invite an outstanding graduate student to provide a brief message on behalf of the graduating student body. It is now my pleasure to present Ms. Dana Hansen, Director of the Evening MBA program, who will introduce the graduate student speaker.
Thank you, Provost Rakakis. Good afternoon, everyone, and a warm welcome to all of the mothers who have joined us on this Mother's Day. We have come together to celebrate the achievements of our graduating students, and it is with great pride that I present our 2017 National Capital Region Graduate Student Speaker, Jean Raleigh. Jean is representative of the graduates sitting before us, a working professional who committed to furthering her academic career while successfully juggling a personal life, likely a difficult commute, learning to be a Hokie, one whom positively impacts her professors and classmates alike. As a senior manager at the Golan Public Relations Agency, Jean leads the social media, multicultural, and integrated marketing initiatives across the Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond markets, and provides strategic counsel on crisis and media relations. Prior to joining Golan in 2012, Jean worked for McDonald's USA for 5 years as a marketing and consumer and business insights specialist, focused on analyzing marketing programs and creating business cases for the region's 6 unique markets. Jean's ability to combine her expertise in crafting and executing public relations and social media strategies, together with the business tools of marketing analytics and finance, has been recognized with numerous professional awards. Joining the Virginia Tech Evening MBA program in the fall of 2013, she continued building relationships, now with students of diverse professional backgrounds. She also welcomed new experiences, traveling with Virginia Tech's Study Abroad program to Scandinavia in 2015 to study production and operations, a far cry from her world of marketing and communications. Yet, Jean earned the respect and admiration of many, even if they weren't quite sure why this University of Florida woman was so excited about a corporate communications course or traveled to chilly Sweden. It was her compassion, caring, and professionalism which her MBA faculty and classmates recognized as special. Please join me in welcoming Pamplin College of Business MBA graduate Jean Raleigh.
Thank you, Dana, for that kind introduction, and thank you to the distinguished faculty and staff for this wonderful opportunity. The first speech I ever gave was for a 5th grade speech competition where we selected the topic. Since it was my first time public speaking, I was undoubtedly nervous, to say the least. So when it was my turn to take the podium and address the audience of my classmates and loving family members, much like we have here today, I chose to speak to everyone about the issue that had been keeping me up at night, stage fright. Talk about showing all your cards. So now as I stand here, a professional communicator, I can't help but reflect back on how it all started with that scary first step. While today we celebrate all that we've accomplished, it is also a day to remember the journey we took to get here and to recognize the courage we had in taking that first step. No one's experience is quite the same as anyone else's. I mean, look around. We have a wide variety of degrees being awarded here today. On top of that, all of our paths to get here were different. What we did before Virginia Tech, our work experiences, our industries, and what we'll do with our new degrees, that's all different. Also, the challenges each of us faced to graduate, those were unique. But it is my belief that our diverse backgrounds and individuality makes us as Virginia Tech stronger. For example, I am not your typical MBA student. I promise you, absolutely no one would say that I was. But Virginia Tech wasn't looking for typical students. Other graduate schools are simply looking for students that check all the boxes, not Virginia Tech. They aren't concerned if students fit a certain mold. They want to know who we are and what we have to offer. We are lucky to be part of an institution that values us as individuals. We are all here today because of our hard work and dedication, and because Virginia Tech knew that we were the right ones to be here. When I was accepted to the MBA program 4 years ago, I was honored to be invited to such a prestigious school, but experienced that self-doubt similar to my 5th grade fear of public speaking. We've all been there before. We get to a first day of a new job and think, I don't know enough. I think I'm in over my head. That was me 4 years ago. My brain kept pointing out that the tech was very important at Virginia Tech, and I was far from an engineer. Honestly, I was terrified that someone would figure out that I was always opting for the written assignments or that I struggled with linear regression, and they would very politely show me the door. But that's not what Virginia Tech is about. Everyone here, from my professors and to my classmates, valued what I brought to the program, and we all appreciated learning from each other. I quickly realized that I shouldn't run away from being different. I wasn't here by mistake. I was here because Virginia Tech embraced my difference, and I needed to as well. This experience taught me that you can't expect to become better by conforming. Being uncomfortable is just the byproduct of innovating, and sometimes little changes can lead to big results. Each year, I watched our MBA program move up in the rankings from 34 to 16 to 7. We followed the footsteps of our IT and engineering graduate programs into the top 10. This didn't happen by chance. This happened because Virginia Tech invented our future. It is important to recognize that not all the lessons that we learned were actually in this classroom. Whether we were part-time students working full-time or full-time students, our lives were certainly very full. We learned that the lights in our office turn off at 10 p.m., that we can balance more than we ever thought possible, and that sleep is indeed overrated. We learned that we could not and did not do this alone. We have so many people that have made our pursuit of higher education a reality. To our family, friends, spouses, partners, employers, colleagues, and countless others that have helped us achieve our goals, I believe I speak for my fellow graduates when I say thank you. I bet you're just as excited to see this day as we are. And it is fitting that today is Mother's Day, because I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge my own parents. Mom, I'm up here today because you were an amazing role model and my inspiration to become a successful businesswoman. Both you and Dad ensured I never thought there was anything I couldn't do. And Dad, I apologize for the double negative in the previous sentence, and I think today is a testament to what I can do when I try. Finally, most commencement speeches address tomorrow. What will our tomorrows look like now that we have these degrees? Well, tomorrow, we go back to work. But we go back with a sense of pride, a sense of accomplishment. We go back with pride knowing that we are capable of conquering our biggest fears, embracing our differences, and reinventing our futures. Most importantly, we go back knowing that Virginia Tech prepared us to take on the world. So as I conclude my remarks today, I must embrace who I am, an English nerd. We often forget that commence actually means to begin. Therefore, tomorrow is actually a new beginning, our next first step. This time, we will not be scared because we're all in this together. Congratulations, fellow graduates.
Thank you, Ms. Riley. No stage fright there whatsoever. Very good. And how about that progression from 34 to 16 to 7, huh? That doesn't fit in linear regression at all, does it? We believe that there is great value in the connection between Virginia Tech and the National Capital Region. The career and accomplishments of our commencement speaker validate this vision. Ms. Mehul Sandani is the founder and CEO of Octo Consulting Group, an 11-year-old award-winning Northern Virginia technology company with more than 300 employees. Mr. Sangani's road to success began in Blacksburg, where he earned bachelor's degrees in industrial and systems engineering and in psychology. So Mehul was beyond boundaries before we decided to go beyond boundaries. So when we decided the university was going to go beyond boundaries, we said, come back and be on our board. There you go. Today, his company has been listed as one of Virginia's Fantastic 50 by the Chamber of Commerce. Octo was also named Corporate Philanthropist of the Year and nominated for the National Jefferson Award for Public Service. Ms. Sangani's success reflects Virginia Tech's academic strengths and spirit of service. And we are privileged to have him serve on our Board of Visitors. Please welcome Ms. Mehul Sangani.
All right. Well, thank you, Provost Rakakis, and thank you, Virginia Tech Class of 2017. That has a really nice ring to it, doesn't it? Good afternoon and congratulations, graduates of the Virginia Tech Class of 2017. I'll say it again. You made it. You made it. It's here. It's finally graduation day. And I think that in and of itself deserves one more big round of applause. I know that today is the culmination of what has been a very long and tenuous journey for you all. Lots of sleepless nights, drinking coffee, constantly pushing yourself to pursue your goal, the stress that comes with defending your thesis, completing those drawings, finishing presentations, completing complex dissertations and case studies. Many of you have had to do all of this while also juggling full-time jobs and the demands of families of your own, which is on its own remarkable and noteworthy. Despite all that investment of time and energy and all of the money you have given to this great school, I think you guys got the raw end of the stick when it comes to commencement speakers today. All right, the undergraduate commencement speaker was none other than Facebook COO Sheryl Sandberg, one of the most prominent executives, male or female, in corporate America. You all got stuck with some Indian dude who sounds a little like comedian Aziz Ansari and could probably easily pass as his stunt double. Lucky you. I have to acknowledge how shocked I was to receive the invitation to speak at today's commencement. While I am a very proud Hokie graduate, I am fortunate to have a couple of undergrad degrees from this fine institution, but unlike you, no graduate degrees. And quite honestly, I'm embarrassed to say that my collegiate legacy was far more notable for things like streaking buck naked across the drill field my sophomore year, and being escorted out of several bars my junior year to what I will only refer to as highly controversial age disputes. So one can imagine my surprise that they would choose to extend an invitation to have me serve as commencement speaker to such an esteemed group of graduates. And now that I've divulged that information, I guess I can probably rest assured that this may very well be my last such invitation. Well, it has been a very, very long time since I've had the privilege of attending a commencement at all. In fact, the last one I attended was my own graduation in the spring of 1998, 19 years ago. I can honestly say that I only remember a couple things from that day. I remember the raging hangover I had from staying out too late celebrating the night before. I remember I had a girlfriend at the time who now happens to be my wife and the mother of my children. That's not something you want to forget, by the way. Love you, babe. Happy Mother's Day. But the one thing I could not tell you if my life depended on it was who exactly the commencement speaker was that day. So I promise I will not hold it against you if you don't remember much of anything from my speech today. My personal challenge today, however, is to ensure that doesn't happen and ensure that you do take away a few fleeting but impressionable moments from my candid conversation with you all. Now, some of you guys may have seen it. It's caught fire on social media, but Will Ferrell delivered the commencement address at USC yesterday and ended it by singing Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You." I will make a personal promise to spare you from having me sing Whitney Houston to meet my personal objective of making today's speech memorable. Now, I'm a big Bobby Brown fan. I'd be happy to offer my own rendition of My Prerogative for anyone later. But I digress. So I want to begin by telling you what a special place Virginia Tech is for me. I love this school. I am actually a town native of Blacksburg, Virginia. I spent my formative years growing up in the town of Blacksburg. So Blacksburg is truly home for me. The school and the community has shaped so much of who I am today. I went on my first dates growing up in Blacksburg. I learned how to drive a car there. I went to school at Virginia Tech after graduating from Blacksburg High School. I met my wife at Virginia Tech. My children, Cameron and Sienna, 7 and 6, are here today. They're up there. Love you guys, but hey, without Virginia Tech, you kids may not even be here today. All right. So all kidding aside, it is clear that my personal roots and ties to this school run deep. In a lot of ways, Blacksburg and eventually my time at Virginia Tech, it has shaped how I see the world. And I can only hope that once the afterglow of today's graduation wears off, that the tie, the bond, and the overall connection you presumably will have to the school remains indelible to you, that it sticks with you in much the same way that it has for me. For someone with these kinds of deep-seated roots to Virginia Tech, one of the greatest honors of my life prior to today's invitation to speak to you all was the invitation I received 2 years ago. I received a phone call from Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe asking me if I would serve on Virginia Tech's Board of Visitors. Serving on the Virginia Tech Board has provided me an even stronger appreciation for my alma mater. More importantly, it has given me a strong purview and an even greater understanding and appreciation for higher education and its role in our society. Before I go into my speech, I do want to take this opportunity to talk for just a moment about that very quickly. Make no mistake, higher education is at an important crossroads. It used to be that as a society, higher education was seen as part of the common good. It was a down payment, an investment that we were willing to make with our own tax dollars to serve the common good in the form of highly skilled labor, to drive highly skilled jobs that would not only serve the needs of our communities, but serve as economic drivers in the years to come. Let me be clear in stating that this is not a political statement. Whether there's a Democrat or a Republican in state offices across the country, funding for public higher education is the lowest it has ever been. What that really means is that we as a society have determined that we're no longer willing to invest in higher education the way we did before, that the notion of higher education for the common good has been diminished. Colleges are having to adapt to this new reality, and your alma mater is no different. I want to make a personal challenge or plea to you all today. I would offer that it is incumbent upon you all, incumbent upon us as a generation that has benefited from our higher education to change that narrative. I would ask you all to do two things. One, I ask that you all do your part to extol and promote the virtues of higher education and the role that it serves in our society. Be a champion of the role higher education plays in promoting the common good, the public good. At the end of the day, they say a budget, anyone's budget, whether it's your personal budget at home or a state government's annual budget, all that a budget truly is a blueprint of priorities, a blueprint of political or personal priorities. And I would offer that there are few investments that offer the return on our tax dollars that higher education provides. 2, I ask that you give back in whatever small ways you can to your universities, preferably what is now your alma mater. This trend of state funding decreases for our public universities will only continue, and universities have to rely more heavily on philanthropic business models to maintain the same standards that they've had for previous generations. In the years to come, you all will have ample opportunity to reflect and make a truly objective assessment of the role that higher education has played in who you are, in how you see the world, in what you've become. I hope that you have the same raw emotion for your school that I do, and I hope that you'll give back in whatever way that you can. Colleges need it, your university will need it. Now that I've completed my infomercial for Virginia Tech, Provost Rakakis, please pass along to Dr. Sands that I only accept payment in one form for my celebrity endorsement. Straight cash, homie, straight cash, all right? So I want to proceed to the more familiar part of the commencement speech, where the speaker tries to impart some pearls of wisdom. I can't necessarily say that I have pearls of wisdom per se, as much as I can honestly say that I have many scars and bruises from the many, many mistakes that I've made. My mom is here today, love you, Mom. And she can attest to the fact that she's laid down a few whoopings on me for some of those mistakes when I was younger. And I'm sure all the mothers here today on Mother's Day can attest. I do, however, want to offer 3 stories of personal perspective for you. Just 3 stories, that's it. The first story I want to share is about opportunity, but more importantly about having the right perspective on the opportunities that we have. So perhaps more aptly, this story is about opportunity and perspective. I will tell you a little bit about myself. My family immigrated here from India in 1979. It has become cliched almost to hear about stories like mine. I came to the United States when I was just 3 years old. Both of my parents were college educated in India. My dad was actually an engineer, but they came here with nothing in their pockets. The degrees back home didn't buy them much when they arrived here, though. They worked whatever jobs they could to survive. So late night shifts at McDonald's, 7-Elevens, what have you. My mom worked long hours at a shirt factory growing up. These are struggles to advance opportunity, a story and a struggle that is no different than the ones many of the families in this room have had to navigate and conquer to get to this moment here today. All of the folks in this room have been given a tremendous opportunity, and the perspective on that opportunity should not be lost or understated. I think about how different my own life would be if my family decided to remain in India. Would I be a rickshaw driver somewhere? Would I be afforded the same opportunities I've been blessed with here? Would I be standing in front of you right here, right now, here today, afforded an invitation to give a commencement speech? Bill Clinton once said this. My only advice, and I don't say this sadly, is it doesn't take long to live a life, and the fuller it is, the faster it goes. All of us are part of a relatively recent phenomenon in human history. We have the freedom to choose whatever we want with our waking hours. Most of the people who've ever lived before us just a couple hundred years ago never had that choice. If you happen to be born during the Middle Ages, odds are you couldn't just wake up and decide to have a me day that day. That's why you're here. You have the ability and the unique privilege of being born right here, right now, to make the unique choices with your life, with all the opportunities that you've been given. I don't think you should ever lose perspective on those opportunities. Don't disempower yourself is my advice to you. Follow your heart, your head, and don't disempower yourself from the opportunities you have. Failure is not a crime, but the failure to try, however, is. The failure to seize the unique opportunities, the failure to see these opportunities with the unique perspective we have, truly is. The second story I want to share with you is about sacrifice. I talked a little bit about my parents and some of the jobs they worked when I was younger. Their pursuit of something better for me and my sister, who's also here today, eventually led them to try and start their own business. They ended up borrowing money from friends and family and put a down payment on a very small motel they bought in Blacksburg called the Red Carpet Inn. Anyone who has been to Blacksburg and driven by that motel or stayed there can attest to the fact that this place doesn't have a lot of red carpets. This place was not the Ritz. The truth was that it was far from a Holiday Inn, but it was my parents' business. My family, my mom, my dad, my sister, and I moved out of our small house in our modest residential neighborhood and moved into a tiny 2-bedroom apartment located above the check-in lobby of the motel. There was no staff at this motel. We were it. Someone in my family greeted you at registration. My parents, my sister, and I, we cleaned the rooms as the maids. We scrubbed the toilets. We made the beds. We vacuumed the carpets. We did the laundry. It was the epitome of a mom-and-pop operation. Here's another embarrassing truth, though. I hated that motel growing up. I resented the fact that I had to move out of my normal neighborhood with my friends and had to move into a tiny apartment in a rundown motel. I hated the fact that our phone rang, quite literally, all the time. Imagine growing up with your phone ringing all night, guests needing help, or folks calling for transfers to speak to guests staying at the motel. It was a 24/7, 365-day-a-year operation. There were never any holidays or days off in the motel business. I am embarrassed to say that I hated it. I hated having to explain to the girls I was trying to date in high school that I lived in a motel. I hated the fact that while most teenagers spent their weekends doing teenage things, I spent my weekends helping my parents clean motel rooms. I resented not having a normal adolescence. Make no mistake, I resented that property as a teenager, and when the time came to graduate high school and go to college, I couldn't wait to get as far away from it as I possibly could. After high school, I applied to colleges far and wide and had my heart set on going away to college at the University of California, Berkeley. I only reluctantly agreed to go to school at Virginia Tech because my parents couldn't afford the out-of-state tuition, and after my parents reluctantly agreed to let me live on campus, I would finally have my chance at being a normal college student. In return, however, my parents and my father, the engineer, demanded that I major in engineering. Like many college students, especially freshman engineering students, I really struggled. The engineering curriculum was intense and overwhelming. My second semester status course was especially a struggle. I failed an exam for the first time in my life. I wasn't sure if the curriculum really was for me, and I found the classes ridiculously boring and pointless. One weekend, I returned home to see my parents and decided it was time for me to tell them what I had concluded on my own that semester, that I would be quitting engineering and that I wanted to switch majors. I sat down with my father after dinner and went through the talk I had rehearsed in my mind several times. At the end of the talk, he sat there, silent, for what seemed like the longest 2 or 3 minutes of my life. He then asked me if we needed to make an appointment. I said, "Appointment where?" He said, "The hospital." And I said, "Why? Why do we need to make?" Because that's the only place they will be able to surgically remove my shoes from your backside when I'm done talking to you. So he looked me straight in the eye. I could tell he was fatigued from being up all night the night before, talking and tending to guests. He didn't yell, but with a clenched jaw, proceeded to talk to me. "Everything your mother and I have done, coming here from India with nothing, cleaning rooms in this motel, staying up all ends of the night, we have given up who we are. We have given up everything we are for the hope, just the hope, of what you might become. So you're gonna stand there and tell me you wanna quit, that it's too hard, that you're not really interested. This is what's wrong with you. You're too soft. You don't understand what it takes to be successful and the privilege of opportunity. No, I don't care. I'm not going to accept this. If you're struggling, you need to show up at that professor's door and beg for help. You need to put in the time and will yourself through this. You don't have the option to quit. Or should I warm up the car and should we head to the hospital now?" Needless to say, I rethought my decision. I ended up getting a C in that class. It was what I would call a hard C. I ended up staying in engineering, but I can still hear the righteous indignation in my father's voice now. I thought about that voice, that clenched jaw, every time I struggled in college, and it haunts me to this day. All of the people in this room, you all didn't get here on your own. The celebration that is today was paved by the sacrifice of others who supported you along the way. You stood on many shoulders. It took a village. And today is a special day for all of you because you can take a moment and reflect on those people who supported you, whose sacrifices made today possible. Those people who would not settle for you relinquishing this opportunity. Those folks who in many cases sacrificed who they were, their own dreams, their own aspirations, so you could be here today. Today is a culmination of all of that sacrifice. Relish that moment. I know I was grateful I was spared a trip to the ER many years ago. So my last story is a story of regret. After graduating college at Virginia Tech, I got my first job out of school in the Silicon Valley in California, the Bay Area. I finally made it to Berkeley, California. For someone that grew up in a small town, I couldn't wait to live in the big city. It was amazingly empowering to have my first job out of school be in an environment like that, with a successful startup company in the Silicon Valley, and to have the freedom of being so far away from home. But after a few years out there, the excitement of the Silicon Valley gave way to the opportunity to marry the love of my life. That love and the opportunity to be with her drew me back east and back here to Washington, D.C. Just a few years after I got married, I was given the opportunity to start my own business. A customer I had supported as a consultant for several years via my employer approached me about working with them directly and told me they would be happy to serve as my first client if I ever were to hang out my own shingle as a consultant. I wasn't sure that was the right move. I had the support of my employer, but I was broke. I was 30 years old, I had just gotten married, and I had the specter of a brand new mortgage staring me in the face. I was scared about making that leap of faith. Starting my own business would not only involve risk, but $25,000 just to make payroll for the help I need to support this new customer. And that was $25,000 that I obviously didn't have. I went and visited my parents during that time. I told my father about the client who had approached me. He sat there silent again and stared at me. He reached into his desk, wrote me a check for $25,000 and said, "Remember, this is a loan. I expect to get paid back or we will be going to the hospital again." I stared at that check for 2 or 3 minutes. He put his arm on my back and said with his jaw clenched firmly again, "Son, I believe in you. I promise you, you will never look back." My father died a short while after cutting me that check. Just a few months after I had gotten done paying him back. But he was right. I never did look back. 11 years later, that shingle I hung out that started with a check from my father and just me is now a thriving business that now has nearly 400 employees and $75 million in revenue and a corporate headquarters. Thank you. With a sign that dots the Tyson's Corner skyline. And I will tell you something else. Those nights I spent cleaning rooms served me well when I had to stay up late making sure all the employees had equipment they needed, the books were balanced, or that payroll was run on time. Those nights greeting customers and hearing about their day, they serve me well when I greet my customers and have to make them feel at ease about their business decisions. I stand before you today having never had the benefit of getting an MBA like some of you just earned today. But that motel I grew up hating and loathing growing up, that was my crash course MBA. Despite all of that success, I told you that this final story was about regrets. I always find it amusing when I hear folks say they don't have regrets. Everyone has the ghost of regret. They haunt you. I regret that I didn't tell my father that I loved him more often. I regret that my father isn't here today to see me deliver this speech. But I don't regret the lessons that have been shared by him. I don't regret the opportunities that he provided me. And I don't regret the sacrifices that have been made. I will end with a final message to you all, one that I have borrowed from comedian Steve Harvey, believe it or not. If you want to be successful, here's the thing you have to do. You have to jump. There is no way around it. You have to jump. Every person, no matter how you measure success, every successful person has jumped. You've got to jump. You have to take a leap of faith. You have to dash and sprint off the cliff, and you have to jump out there as far as you can. Now, a lot of times where you're standing on the cliff of life and you see people soaring past you, gliding by you like a bird through the air, and you see them vacationing in the south of France. You see them on social media taking selfies in exotic places or having the success that you would like to have or aspire to have. You see them giving commencement speeches. They're flying by you. They're soaring. Why? It's because their parachute, that is, they took a chance on their gift. They had a parachute. But the only way to get your parachute to open up so you can soar is you've got to jump. You've got to jump. Now here's the problem. Here's the catch and the problem, my friends. When you jump, I can assure you one thing. Are you listening? I promise you this. Your parachute will not open right away. No, it won't. That's the fear that has to be overcome. I promise you that the parachute will not open all the way. You'll hit the side of the cliff. You're going to tear yourself open, cut yourself. There will be blood. You will be wounded. But eventually, the parachute will open, and you too will be soaring. But here's the other caveat, and let me tell you this, and it's a promise. If you do not jump, I promise you one thing. Your parachute, that gift that each and every one of you has, your parachute will never open if you don't jump. So you're safe, but you're never gonna soar. You've got to jump. You've got to jump. Take that leap, and I promise you, with my jaw clenched, you will never look back. Thank you for the opportunity of a lifetime. Allow me to soar for just one final moment and take a selfie with you all before I bid you farewell.
Thank you very much for your stories. Some we won't visualize, and some we will remember. But more importantly, thank you for your message. And I would like to take the opportunity to have your family stand. Thank you for coming, and thank you for allowing Mayul to address us today in such a wonderful way. Thank you very much. That's a hard act to follow, but what we have coming up now is the commencement and the graduation. So let me share with you that one of the great pleasures of being the graduate school dean is to introduce the candidates for graduate degrees. And we are almost ready to do that. But for the next few minutes, we are delighted to present to you a feature unique to our commencement ceremonies. In spring 2004, the graduate school began a tradition of presenting a musical gift of an original composition written solely to celebrate graduate students' commencement. This year, we have a new composition, and it is composed by Virginia Tech composer, Associate Professor Eric Lyon. The music accompanies a visual journey of the graduate student's life, so we can provide you, the audience, and all of us with a glimpse, and just a glimpse, into the diversity and vitality experienced by our graduate students each year. The composition this year is entitled Of the Beginning. It can be described as a minimalistic exploration of the sounds and textures of a double brass quintet composed as a palindrome. Please take a few minutes now to enjoy the music as well as the accompanying features and images and reflections.
How about that? 2 for the price of 1. Who says public education doesn't offer value?
We will now begin the conferral of degrees, and we will begin with the doctoral degrees. The doctoral degree represents the highest level of academic achievement and requires that students go far beyond the acquisition of knowledge. A successful doctoral student should transform into a producer of knowledge, someone who will contribute to leading-edge scholarship in their chosen field. Although some doctoral students will go on to be professors and pursue an academic career, others will apply their skills to public service in government, launch innovative products, or open new frontiers in K-12 education. The doctoral candidates today represent a broad range of disciplines, including data and decision sciences, intelligent infrastructure, cybersecurity, and that's just mentioning a few. A very old and special tradition in academia accompanies the presentation of the doctoral degree. The doctoral candidate and the student's major advisor, the advisor who most mentored and supervised the student's research. They join each other on the stage, where the advisor places the hood over the head of the graduate. By hooding the graduate, the faculty member symbolically welcomes the graduate as a professional colleague, and this professional relationship and friendship often continues throughout the graduate's and the mentor's lives. Will all the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education degrees please rise? Dr. Rakakis, I have the honor to present the candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy and the Doctor of Education degrees.
With the power vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the Commonwealth of Virginia, and upon recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon to you the Doctor of Philosophy and Doctor of Education degrees, to which you are entitled with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations.
Will all the candidates for their doctoral degrees and their major professors now approach the stage for the hooding ceremony?
First, the candidates from the College of Architecture and Urban Studies will receive their Doctor of Philosophy degrees. Binube Aleo, hooded by Professor Yanis Divaktis. Arnold C. Dupuy, hooded by Professor Joel Peters. Sonia Lynn Finley, hooded by Professor Gerard Toll. Jennifer Beth Lafergie, hooded by Professor James Boland. Candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy from the College of Engineering will now receive their degrees. Abdul Salim Mansell Igala, hooded by Professor Thomas Grizzard. Huijen Xiao, hooded by Professor Narendran Ramakrishnan. Ning Zhang, hooded by Professor Wenjing Liu. Desong Bien, hooded by Professor Saifer Rahman. Candidates for the Doctor of Philosophy from the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences will now receive their degrees. Elizabeth Mary Rossini, hooded by Professors William Glenn and Walter Mallory. Donald Clark, hooded by Professors Janet Abate and Sonia Schmidt. Edward William Wolfgang, hooded by Professors Janet Abate and Sonia Schmidt. Candidates for the Doctor of Education from the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences will now receive their degrees. Felix Akwe Ado, hooded by Professor William Glenn. Eric Von Brent Sr., hooded by Professors William Glenn, Walter Mallory, and Cami Patrizio. Philip Scott Cronin, hooded by Professors William Glenn and Walter Mallory. Donna Lambert Eagle, hooded by Professor William Glenn. Daria Groover, hooded by Professor William Glenn. Clint Michael Mitchell, hooded by Professor William Glenn. James Michael Patrick, hooded by Professor William Glenn. Matthew Taylor Weigel, hooded by Professor William Glenn.
Graduates, let's give the graduates a round of applause. Will all candidates for the Education Specialist certification please rise? Provost Rakakis, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for the Education Specialists.
Yep. Right, so that's, I'm missing that page.
Page 18.
What? We don't have the same page 18. Okay. All right, good. That's a different page 18, but I got the right page 18 now, so good things come to those who wait. Thank you, Kenneth. With the power vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the Commonwealth of Virginia, and upon recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the Education Specialist certification to which you are entitled with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Please come to the stage. Congratulations.
Robert Andrew Bouchard. Shanna Keon Curtis. Monica Patrice Guerrero. Kristen Lee McKittrick Rojas. Lisa Burke Mosteller. Margaret May Tran.
Will all candidates for the master's degrees please rise? Provost Rakakis, I have the honor of presenting the candidates for the master's degrees.
All right, and this time I found the right page. With the power vested in me by the Board of Visitors and the Commonwealth of Virginia, and upon recommendation of the faculty, I confer upon you the master's degree to which you are entitled with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities pertaining thereto. Will the masters please escort the candidates to the stage? Congratulations.
We welcome the candidates from the College of Architecture and Urban Studies. For the Master of Architecture, Ilker Allen. Jessica Isabella Baralt. Mary Boza. Jennifer Marie Crawford. John William Elliott. Manting Wang. Jeffrey Wilson Curtis. Makam Hashemi. Joeldi Irizarry. Alexis Sakile Macmillan. Robin Lee Ziegenball Patuk. Maria Alejandra Rossi. Agni Morales. Alyssa Renee Tope. Brian Taylor Concannon. Emily Elizabeth Flores. Jacqueline Cordelia Gore. Karen Stacy Herbaugh. Brian Andrew Key. Rachel Kim. Patrice Marie McAuliffe. Zachary John McCoy. Gregory Charles Smiley. For the Master of Public and International Affairs, Dawn Wendy Cutler. For the Master of Science in Architecture, Sanika Samir Lokri. For the Master of Urban and Regional Planning, Kelly Aaron Davis. Rachel Catherine Ferriolo. Shobha Rahul Punes. Sarah Christian Steller. We welcome the candidates from the Pamplin College of Business. Jean Marie Raleigh. Stephen Hood. Neil Giri Gowda. Matthew Thomas Bonaquisti. Cara Elizabeth McBride Fishman. Brian Lee Russell. Joseph George Loffer. Stephen Thomas Boynton. Gregory Paul Torgerson. Natalie Pinoy. Jason James Frank. Ganesham Prabhakar. Justin Arnold Dorr. Adnan Bilwani. Anna Kathleen Bailey. Carrie Shea Mahoney. Jonathan Carl Dornan. Ariane L. Irvine. Nicholas James Brown. Patrice A. Wall. Chaima Fekak. Yekaterina Sarenko. Rachel Ann Calvert. Anthony Carl D'Angio. Swapna Barua Lele. Ramesh Kagu. Peter John Gerhardt Kaler. Tanya Margarita Argueta. Saba Sumaya Ashrafi. Robert Harwood Badger III. William Jeffrey Betzold. Julie Gauthier Bochou. Brandon Christopher Brooks. Cheryl Kreider Carey. Claire Nicole Cullis. Mark Gerard Felder. Alexander Anthony Forty. Terrence Joseph Megan. William Frederick Malzone, Jr. Stephanie Eloisa Valero McCabe. Jesselyn Romero Pisani. DeJuan Erica Price. Jason Edward Reynolds. Chad Allen Schmidt. Dasha Strite. Joel Bradley Wilson. Hasautian Liu. Kumaran Ravi. We welcome the candidates from the College of Engineering. Coleman Fraser Lowry. Mirla Abi Ad. Ali Atizaz. Gabby Jo Hanoun. James Ryan Roberts. Sweetubin Ankit Kumar Patel. Wei Wang. Daniel William Hermes. Sean Aaron Stark. Joseph Patrick Murphy. Melissa A. Shoemaker. Savannah Nicole Whalen. We welcome the candidates from the College of Liberal Arts and Human Sciences. Karen E. Burke. Julie Ann Featherman. Alexander Lee Hunter. Robert Hyde Carey. Emily McCoon Geary. Carla Elizabeth Medina. Zachary Ray Winfrey. George Cosmo Wright, Jr. Abigail May Burton. Rachel Elizabeth Check. Ruth Virginia Jackson. Gregory Robert Linares. Rachel Heckenberg Polakay. Sarah Rochelle Stewart. Maria Elena Gomez. Caitlin Marie Cool. Daniel Paul Miller. Kenneth Drew Rogers. We welcome the candidates from the College of Natural Resources and Environment. Ernesto Luis Acosta. Enoch Narte Afum. Susan Apollonio. Buket Asefa Berhe. Molly Brown. Kathleen Gale Daly. Kyle Bailey Haynes. Abby Melissa Hunsinger. Patrick McGrath Kelly. Mark J. Kessel. Richard Samuel Kirby. Gail Patricia Coolish. So-Young Lee. Brian Gregory McNamara. Kelly Watkinson. Rachel Johanna Corinne Moxley. Catherine Eileen Osterman. Melissa Marie Rios. Jessica Renee Rogala. Randy Kenyatta Raul Jr. Boris Alexander Sanders. Rocco Anthony Saracena. Rachel Marie Studebaker. Andrea Elaine Walker. Jennifer K. Wills. Finally, we welcome the candidates for the Masters of Information Technology degree in Interdisciplinary Studies. Andrew Omaniye Afolabi. Ayaz Akhtar. Sean Lewis Briscoe. Lucas Edward Brown. Nicholas James Brown. Savannah Jean Cannon. Shamika Denise Gilmore. Jason Matthew Hockman. J. Leslie Humphrey. Charles Adrian Jones. Michael L. King. Christopher Jacob Kopinski. Madhu Lalwani. Jonathan Lambebo. Gregory Wayne Lattis. Stuart Benjamin Lempel. Jose J. Ramirez. Christopher Shorup.
Some of the individuals down here have also earned graduate certificates. And so if you could just stand up or wave if you also earned a graduate certificate. Okay, all right, I know some of you have. And so now what I would like to do is to have us congratulate our education specialists, the master's degree recipients, the graduate certificate recipients, and of course, our doctoral. Congratulations.
Well, good afternoon, graduates, and I guess now alumni. My name is Brent Blevins. I have the great honor and privilege of serving as the president of the National Capital Region chapter of the Virginia Tech Alumni Association. I'm here to welcome you as alumni and to say that just because you now have your diploma, your relationship with Virginia Tech is not ending, but you're beginning a new chapter as alumni. For those of you who are staying in the area, you're in great company. We have more than 50,000 alumni in this area, and we want you to be a part of our chapter. We want you to be a part of our alumni association and contribute back to the university. If you're moving elsewhere, there are many chapters across the country and around the world. So I hope that at some point after your dinner, you'll think about looking up the Alumni Association. I am proud to introduce one of our esteemed alumni. Justin Graves is a two-time alumnus of Virginia Tech. He earned a bachelor's degree in sociology in 2012 and a master's degree in 2014. He's an active member of our Alumni Association, and he gives back to the university every opportunity he gets. Justin serves on two boards related to the university, the Multicultural Alumni Advisory Board, as well as the Virginia Tech Alumni Association Board of Directors. Currently, Justin is based in Fairfax, and he says he has two jobs. He has a day job and a passion job. By day, he supports human resources for the Department of Homeland Security, and by night, he is a motivational speaker and owns his own endeavor called he'sonwheels.com. He's traveled the world on behalf of He's on Wheels and Virginia Tech to remind others about the importance of service and engagement. Today, Justin has some service-minded thoughts to share with you as you reflect on your accomplishments and embark on your next journey. Here's Justin.
appreciate it. All right, congratulations. You guys did it. Congratulations. Give yourself another round of applause. I've got to say, it's been absolutely thrilling sitting up here and just seeing your smiles and your families cheering and how excited you are to come up here and grab what you have so rightfully earned. So I know that I speak for your families and yourselves when I say that it's really exciting, and I'm really proud of you all for joining this awesome circle of friends. I also have notes on my phone, by the way. I'm not like Snapchatting while I'm talking to you, just so you know. I've had the great opportunity to do this twice as both an undergrad and a graduate student from Virginia Tech. And I know very well how proud you must feel about the determination and the sacrifice and everything that you've put into making it to this point. A feat like this is very rarely ever accomplished just by one person. It's usually an entire community of people, just like many of our other speakers today have said. So I know that I speak for that community also around you all when I say that we're extremely excited for this next chapter in your lives. I wanted to do my part to welcome you to what I really think is one of the greatest circle of friends in the entire world, and that is the Virginia Tech Alumni Association. Being an alum of Virginia Tech is something, it's a privilege that I wouldn't trade for pretty much anything in the world. You're now connected to some of the most educated, service-minded, giving, compassionate people that I've ever met in my personal life. And just like before, when you were students and now as an alum, we still like to call ourselves Hokies. Whether it's holding the door open for someone else as you're walking through, or whether it's finding a job or an internship or helping someone else in that way, or if it's just helping another student or a friend, I always think it's part of our calling as Hokies to reach back and support the people around us. I don't think there's any greater responsibility as a Virginia Tech Hokie, especially as a Virginia Tech Hokie alum, than to practice ut prosum, our university's motto, which means that I may serve. We call it our university's motto, but I really like to think of it more as a Hokie motto, because whether you've received a degree from Tech or not, you can still practice ut prosum in your everyday life. And I think ut prosum really acknowledges the responsibility that we all have as Hokies to better the environment around us through service, but also in our own unique ways, through our own unique gifts, however we might see those or whatever those may be. I can't wait to see every single one of you, I hope, around at different Alumni Association events, whether it's here in the National Capital Region or wherever else life may take you in the coming months and years. Whether it's a football watch party, a picnic, the big event, a networking social, there are all kinds of great events. I look forward to connecting with you there and learning more about what kind of goals you have as Virginia Tech alumni and for us as all Hokies on this Virginia Tech journey. But that journey does not stop here. I really, truly think that it is only beginning. I can't wait to help support any of the ideas that you might have for the Virginia Tech Alumni Association and for you, because you're now a part of that great club. So I encourage you to really do one thing right now. Take a look around, look behind you, look in front of you, look side to side. Remember the people that you're sitting next to. Think about those siblings and kids and parents that are all around you. And don't take like a picture on your cell phone or on a camera. Just take a very detailed mental image of this moment, because I think that those are the most powerful. You've arrived at a fantastic accomplishment, and I really want you all to remember that. So good luck on whatever it is that you decide to do next. As this next stage of life commences, with the support of the Hokie Nation behind you, I am very, very certain that you will be successful. Thank you, and again, congratulations.
Thank you, Justin. I always enjoy hearing what you have to say. All right. I remember one of the commencement speakers I heard said his favorite words were, "to conclude." We're almost there. As a final note, I would like to call on Dr. Kathleen Hancock of the National Capital Region Faculty Association to bring you a brief message of congratulations on behalf of the university faculty.
I'll reiterate the brief. Virginia Tech graduates, that has a nice sound, doesn't it? After the many sacrifices that you and your families have shared over the past semesters, you have achieved this important milestone. Commitment, hard work, compromise, not to mention sleepless nights, missed activities, and often precariously balanced demands from a multitude of sources have finally paid off. You now hold the culmination in your hands. Today, you join the ranks of a far-reaching and influential group of alums. As you move forward with your careers, know that you are now one of the stones in the foundation of the Hokie Nation. I offer you one final thought as you leave today. Martin Luther King told us that whatever we do, keep moving forward, even if at a crawl. You've already shown, as represented by your presence here today, that you understand this. I encourage you not to rest on those laurels, but to continue to learn and grow throughout your careers and your lives. Specifically, I challenge you to fight complacency, to push against the status quo, and make a difference every day, and to live by the Virginia Tech motto, ut prosum, that I may serve. On behalf of the faculty and staff at Virginia Tech, congratulations to each and every one of you. I do want to give a special thanks to Dr. Barbara Hoops as the reader of names, to the marshals, to the soloist Carolyn Danville, to the members of the Quintessential Brass, and all the people who made this day possible, in particular Susan Merton, for their part in the ceremony. Now, would everyone please stand for the retiring of the colors? Our commencement ceremony for Virginia Tech's National Capital Region for 2017 is now concluded. The stage party will exit first. Students will follow afterwards by rows to your right, beginning with the first row. Thank you for joining us, and have a safe trip home.